On this episode of the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, it's 3 chords and a mighty yawp of rage as we dive into punk rock characters and pop culture. Yes, it's time for punk rock A to Z, so never mind the bollocks. This is the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Welcome to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. I'm Charles. There's Alan.
Gabba gabba hey.
There's T Mike.
Punk's not dead.
And we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Ramones' eponymous debut album, released April 23rd, 1976.
Yep.
Damn.
One of the true classic punk albums. And we're celebrating it with a punk rock A to Z episode.
This is the second time I've celebrated that because my sister was born on April 23rd.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Carolyn was born then.
I did not really. They put the album out as a birthday present to her.
So, yeah.
You guys play it every year?
No, she probably never heard the whole thing.
Is that why her middle name is Ramones?
Yes.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, the Ramones. I mean, I got to see the Ramones. Mm-hmm. I got to see them perform the year before, like 1990.
Yeah.
Jason, who's been on the show a bunch, and our friend Jeremy and
At theautopian.com.
We went to see them at a signing at a record store.
Exchange, right? In Winston, right?
Yeah.
The record exchange, yeah.
And I don't remember how we knew about it, but we decided to go. We were going to let's be wacky.
I thought I remember you just found out about it like really quickly, and so you kind of just had to get over there quickly.
But I don't remember how we found out about it. But
Maybe
it's just like, hey, are we going to go or something? So we were looking for stuff for them to sign, and I just grabbed something off the bookshelf, which was a book about Nostradamus' prophecies. And then later on, I was like, I should have brought my yearbook.
Oh, yeah.
Because of rock and roll high school. But also, that's what people sign.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Ramones had signed my yearbook?
Jeremy brought a cricket bat.
He brought a cricket bat.
Because he is starting playing cricket at Haverford.
And Jason brought the Talmud.
Yeah.
And so we get in line, and they have all these guys who are just scruffy, all wearing black. We're not in black. We have all, white or different colors on and everything. And so everybody else is in black, just look at who are these guys, and why does that guy have a cricket bat, that kind of stuff.
I don't know, in a punk line, that sounds like a good thing to have.
They all have albums and T-shirts and posters to get signed, and we don't.
Yeah.
And then we get up there, and the CJ Ramone, he goes off with this expletive tirade about how much cricket sucks. Makes a big point. And I was like, how do they know about the cricket? I don't know. Jeremy told me about cricket. I don't know who knows about cricket. And then we get to Johnny and Marky.
Yeah.
And they were together in the middle, and they get the Talmud, and they're like, can we sign this? We can't sign this. This is like a religious. Can we sign this? And they look back at their manager. The manager, you can sign it.
Manager gave him the thumbs up. All right.
They're like, okay, and they sign it and everything. And then they get to mine. They're like, oh, Joey really likes this stuff. Oh. You should, make sure he sees it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I now have something to connect with Joey Ramone. Uh-huh. I thought he was dead.
I believe the phrase you used to me was embalmed.
He was so pale and just kind of slumped over, and I was like, this might be the first dead body I've ever seen. It might be, but he just scrawled his name on the book, and we went out. And then we asked we get a picture.
Yeah.
And so Johnny and Mark, and we started moving together.
That's great.
And Jeremy hands him the camera and said, it's the red button on top. And we got together and smiled. And my mom, to this day, she goes, that's one of the best pictures of the three of you. We're perfectly centered. We're smiling, everything. We're focused and everything.
Their photography skills they're sleeping. People are sleeping on their photography skills.
Marky Ramone is a great photographer. If you have a chance to have him take a picture,
I love that story.
Then we were just laughing so hard we got lost in Winston-Salem for like an hour. This was before your phones and GPS.
Yeah.
We just were driving around looking for the highway.
This is before the GPS system, I think.
Yeah, this is before. Wow. Before MapQuest. We didn't even print out directions.
My punk story is I got to go see the Sex Pistols reunion show in '96 up in Fairfax, Virginia.
Oh wow!
The opening bands were horrible. Plod waiting for them to get done and posture. They were terrible. And then finally the Sex Pistols took the stage, just electric. The crowd just went nuts. Like the first chord, the crowd was just like exploded in energy. And a lot of, shoving and moshing and whatever. And I got whacked in the back of the head I think, and my glasses fell off about a half a dozen times. I managed to catch them each time, which is good because at the end of the show, one of the people I was there with lost his glasses. And so we went up to the very front of the crowd, the front of the stage, and we're like, hey, security guy, you see any glasses? And he like looks around, picks up a pair. Are these them? No. There were that many knocked off pairs of glasses up there that, there was no telling who's was whose anymore.
I did get to see the Ramones the next year actually perform.
Oh, yeah?
At Beatty's Music Garden in Winston-Salem.
Where is Beatty's?
Take I-40 to the Cherry Street exit. Go north on Deacon Boulevard, about half mile, behind Pig Pickin'.
That wasn't all their ads.
All their commercials. That's what it constantly together. I did my deathbed. Where do you need me buried? Well, take I-40 to the Cherry Street exit. and Joey looked very alive at that point. It was a really good show.
Awesome, yeah.
But and it hit me recently that they were only, I thought, they're such an old band from the 70s. Yeah. They were only together 15 years at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they started like teens, early 20s when
they were like late teens, early 20s, I believe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They started early.
But I just assume, they're so old and everything. They're old band today. No, they were 15 years into it. It's not like the Rolling Stones right now where they're like in the 70 years or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so should we talk more about punk rock?
I think we should.
There is a misconception about punk rock that it's all anger and nonconformity.
Right.
And there is some of that. I'm not going to dismiss that. But punk is more about a do-it-yourself desire to get your songs out. Instead of letting corporations and advertisers mold you and pretty up your sound or water down your lyrics.
Yeah.
Punk rock is about screaming your beliefs so the ones in the ivory towers know you can't be bought or sold.
But not necessarily always screaming, though. And that's always the thing that struck me is like people would like, I'd say that I would listen to punk music and then I would play them like the Minutemen or something like that. And they're like, this isn't punk. And they're like, no, this is. It's like very much. It's like the ethos and everything,
Yeah.
And
but the Minutemen are actually interesting because they're not like the loud, brash, harsh sound. But they're still in there.
Very DIY and just so
that's why I believe the Rocklapedic Fake Bandicate is as punk as it gets.
Oh yeah,
just the three of us with equipment we bought, talking about a subject we enjoy, and we don't have focus groups picking the coolest show topics or any sponsors trying to tell us we need to smile more. It's we're keeping it real.
Well, actually, we have a we actually have a new sponsor.
You didn't tell them about this?
I didn't. No. We have a new sponsor.
We have a sponsor.
We could do commercials. Okay. All right. Well, let's start it.
Another hot day in the Outback.
What are we gonna do?
Maybe you should reach for a Cloisters.
Charles Rempel.
That's right, Charles Rempel from the Rocklapedic Fake Bandica here. And when I'm stuck in the bush, I reach for a Cloisters, Australia's third favorite cloves and oysters flavored gum. Cloisters' unique blend of shellfish and spice gives you that extra kick to keep going, and their quarter pounder sticks are the largest in the world. Try original, double strength, and their new flavor, Oops, all oysters. Your mouth's out of joy, sir? Reach for a Cloisters. Yeah, maybe we should just kind of start the show, Dan.
All righty.
Okay. It's going to be one of our A to Z shows. So every letter gets a band that starts with it. You know the drill by now.
Right.
I would hope.
It will be a band that we probably won't be able to do a whole show about.
Right.
We had a big discussion recently about a couple of bands that we were like, we really should mention them. No, I think we should do some others.
We should save those for a more in-depth discussion.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to hold you to it, though. I'm going to hold you guys to these things. We also each get one extended play if we need to talk about a letter a little longer than a real punk song, right?
If the bit goes longer than the song.
Okay, so it's fitting Alan will start us off because his name starts with letter A.
And I think I will use it for my extended play because this is kind of long looking at it.
Oh, let me hit the extended play music. All right.
And A is for Anushka. We begin with a bit of a mystery. Anushka from 1981's low-budget, shot in 1 week, or possibly shot in 3 weeks, depending on who you talk to, French romance La Brune et Moi, The Brunette and Me.
Oh, okay.
She was played by real Paris punk scenester Anushka, but what we are asking is, who was Anushka? No, seriously, who was she?
I don't know.
According to everything I've been able to find about the movie, no one who actually worked on the movie knew her as anything other than some random punk scenester from Paris that the director hired out of the classifieds.
They just showed up, and then
She just showed
you're
up.
the star of the film. Congratulations.
She had
That's pretty punk in a way.
Punked out, frizzed up, kind of skunk hair, black and white hair. And
I love skunk hair.
Yeah. She vanished after the first screening, which was not very successful. And based on some interviews I read with the director and other cast members, there were actually several Anushkas in the scene at the time, and any of them could have been
people named
the one in
that.
the movie. They don't know. They don't know. They've lost touch with all these people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Le Brun et Moi is French for The Brunette and Me, which is a riff on La Blonde et Moi, which was the French title for The Girl Can't Help It.
We talked about that.
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
we?
That's a Jane Mansfield movie.
And she was about an aspiring rock singer, and then her Svengali guy ends up being the rock star.
Right, yeah.
The plot of La Brune et Moi is very simple. It's a finance bro, this La businessman. He runs into a glamorous punk scenester chick on the street. He's immediately smitten, follows her along, and then she tells him that she'll be with him, but she wants him to make her a rock star. Not just a rock star, a punk rock star.
Well, of
Okay,
course.
yeah.
And she's not really anything more than a series of sexy punk girl cliches. She's like a manic punky green dream girl, I guess the name would be. She mainly dances around, and there are a lot of upskirt shots. To the point where you're watching this and you're like, I think I know what the director likes.
Well, okay.
The finance bro is actually kind of a big star, played by Pierre Clementi, who played Catherine Deneuve's boyfriend in Belle de Jour. So he's actually was in fairly big films before this. Like I said, he's credited as Le Businessman, and he's not really fleshed out. And slowly over the movie, he kind of becomes the narrator too, which may have to do with the fact that this was a fairly rushed film.
Yeah,
When you get it done in a week, it's kind of like,
Yeah. You may not have some time for a lot of focus grouping. It was actually shot using borrowed equipment on off hours by Philippe Puy-Cuyol, who actually is listed not as the director, but as the editor of the film, which may have to do because film is not really about the Anushka parts and the story. It's actually about the series of musical performances. So it's very much like just a concert film of these different bands that they liked, and then there's this very threadbare story kind of holding it all
Okay,
together.
yeah.
That's a real throwback to the 50s, where early rock and roll films would just be like a series of bands, and they'd come up with a very thin plot.
Like an early rock and roll film you can think of? Perhaps one I've mentioned.
Yes.
It is. It's very, if you watch
that Girl Can't Help It actually has like a little
bit of
more
story,
a little more story than some of those other ones.
The bands are kind of a who of French punk and post-punk bands at the time. Ici Paris, Marquis de Sade, Edith Nylon, Le Privé, Go-Go Pigalle, The Questions, Astro Flash, and one that probably Americans may have heard of, Les Dogs. They actually had some songs that were heard in the U.S. a little more.
I'll have to check these guys out because I haven't heard any of them.
Pierre-Jean Cayette, who was actually the bassist for the band Gasoline, he plays a guy that Anushka hooks up with. There's this whole thing where she doesn't end up hooking up with the finance guy, and it's like this guy in her band. But one of the last images in the film is him lying dead in the bathtub.
Did she kill him? Or?
No, I think he
just
kind of implied that he OD'd. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was kind of morbidly ironic because he ended up committing suicide just a few months after filming. Yeah.
Ouch.
So it's kind of a haunting picture
Creepy,
if you know the backstory.
Yeah.
According to French Wikipedia, it is quote considered a cursed film.
Wow.
Because of that. It was only released in a couple theaters. It only sold about 570 tickets.
Oof.
The critics hated it. Even though it did win the jury prize at the Rex International Musical Film Festival in March '81.
That's crazy.
As I mentioned, Anushka, though, herself, the actress, vanished.
Yeah.
Right.
She's not a bad singer. She kind of reminds me of Exene Cervenka from X.
Yeah.
So she did her own singing. Okay.
She did her own singing. The band that Le Businessman assembles for her are all real musicians in the scene.
Okay.
And so the song is actually not that bad.
That's cool.
And the film is only 50 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
The
It's like a TV movie.
Yeah. The music's interesting. It's actually worth listening just for like a slice of life of the time in France.
Mhm.
It is on YouTube, but I will tell you the one on YouTube, it doesn't have subtitles.
Okay.
But you can go to cinematech.fr for the subtitled one. And
Oh,
they have one
okay.
subtitled
Okay.
in English. And it's actually, although the subtitle person was never fully clear on whether there's a C in Anushka or not.
Huh. All right.
It kind of is all over the place.
All right.
I was sitting there going back and forth on moving the file in the wiki entry, and I'm like, no, wait, he spelled it the other way this time.
Well, what IMDb had it without the C, I assume.
Sometimes.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Never mind.
The official site.
Well, no wonder
like
they can't find this lady. They
the
don't know how to
air-
spell her name.
Yeah. It's all over the place. Yeah.
Letter B.
All right. Letter B is the Blood Farts.
Oh, that's a lovely name.
Possibly the worst name band in the whole Rocklopedia. All right, this is from the 2005 film The Bad News Bears. It's a remake of the 1976 film about a struggling Little League baseball team who's coached to success by a washed-up, alcoholic, real Major League pitcher. And the original one is Walter Matthau did a great
Yeah.
job. I remember watching that as a kid.
I watched it as a kid.
Isn't
yeah.
it Billy Bob Thornton in this one?
Yeah, he plays that role in the 2005 one. In the movie, the real band Phantom Planet has a cameo playing them. They cover the song "Wipeout," which was a 1963 instrumental classic by the Surfaris, which I didn't realize it went to number 2 on the Billboard charts.
Whoa.
The original version. Here it is. Now, even though they're called the Blood Farts in the movie, for some reason in the credits, they're listed as State Band.
State Band.
I don't know what that means. I could not find out any information. I didn't watch the actual film because it seems like such
That
a
makes
short.
no sense.
I don't know. Anyway, all right.
So maybe that's not their name.
No, I think it.
Maybe the people are just calling them that. These guys sound, their music is like
State
so
Band.
bad.
I don't know.
State Band is a bunch of blood farts.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I think I saw that graffito somewhere.
We are off to a great start with
we
this.
are. We're doing great.
Letter C.
All right, that's also me, Charles. This is going to be my extended play.
Oh, right off the bat.
All right, Chevron and the Chevettes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Chevron and the Chevettes is a female punk trio, all-female trio, from the 2019 episode of the Netflix animated series for kids, Harvey Girls Forever. And the episode is called That Thing You Dot,
That's good.
which is a reference to the 1996 classic fake band film, That Thing You Do, which we will finally be covering later this year
Right.
on its 30th anniversary.
Maybe.
So stay tuned. Anyway, here's the band.
What is that? It's music, but it's more shake than shimmy.
Oh, I'd know that all-state a cappella pitch anywhere.
Hey, Dot, is that your old preschool, what's the term she used?
The term I use is tyranny.
All right. Anyway, I think that rocks a lot harder than any kids show cartoon punk band.
Oh, I agree.
Really has a right. And lyrics in French, moi, chef's kiss. I tell you,
It is weird. We've had
2 French ones.
3
already.
entries and two in French so far.
Such an odd show. We have.
Anyway, the band is fronted by antagonist Chevron, who's voiced by Anna Camp.
Oh, she was in Pitch Perfect.
That's right. I think she was also in the Perfect Harmony TV show we talked about.
Yes, she was.
episode
Yes,
That's
she
right.
was.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, Chevron is a rich, snotty, annoyingly perfect overachiever who has decided to take on punk rock as her new hobby because lowbrow is the new highbrow, losers. So she dragooned Penny as drummer and Lucretia as guitarist, although they are now Chevettes 1 and 3. We don't talk about Chevette 2. We don't talk about it.
I love that song.
Uh,
We don't talk about Chevette too.
Anyway, Chevron hogs the limelight as the band's unquestioned leader, forcing the other members into the background. Literally, she literally pushes them into the background of the shadows of the stage.
That's where Chevettes belong.
Exactly. So one of the show's protagonists, Dot, who's that thing you Dot. That's named after her. She's just outraged by this dictatorship. Dot is voiced by Kelly McCreary, and Dot decides she'll form her own band with her friends Lotta and Audrey, and it will be a collective where everybody gets a say. And that band is the Harvey Girls with 8 R's. And they sound like this.
We are cooperating. No one is dictating. Now everyone do a dance. What to say? What's up, right? Sharing all decisions. I agree. No division. It's so easy. Now that's equality. That's equality.
But then Chevron challenges them to a live battle of the bands, and the Harvey Girls were only good because they could fix everything in post.
Yeah.
So now they've been challenged. So they take up the challenge, they pick up the glove, and they go off and they use their collective system to take turns making band decisions, no matter how stupid they are. And their live show is a disaster. And surprisingly, the protagonist Dot actually admits defeat to the antagonist. But then they both compromise and form the Harvettes, a supergroup of both bands based on representative democracy. Yay! And then they sing about it.
I had a band that played real loud, and we commanded every crowd. You commanded your bandmates too. You got me, but what about you? Well, I had a band where all were equal, but the sound we made should be illegal. So now we lead our bands together, co-captains or whatever. Because combined we can make something really, really great. Hey, yeah, we'll set this group to super. Make a super group.
Wow.
And there just aren't enough rock songs about representative democracy.
I'm glad finally this will be add this to the Schoolhouse Rock.
Exactly, yeah.
That's right. So I have a 3 for there. We're never going to talk about these guys again. So I figured I got to get all the ones from the show.
That's good. Okay.
All right.
Letter D.
This is what I love. This is the Deadweights. And this is the band that was the focus of a hoax Wikipedia article entry that was created by a guy who seemed to go by Boggy Bob.
Wait, start all over.
Yeah.
What was that?
The band is the
It's a
Deadweights.
hoax.
And it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
A hoax Wikipedia article.
Entry, yeah. So it's a fake band that's this guy created or gal created to make a page about on Wikipedia.
Boggy Bob.
Boggy Bob.
Boggy Bob
made a
created the page.
Okay.
I will go to bat for Wikipedia for the most part because generally they actually do a really good job of carving out bad info, finding things that need to be cited better.
They're on the alert for these hoax articles. People are always trying to pull the wool over their eyes and put some silly stuff or bad info.
Well, you
in
say
there.
that, but this was created in 2007, September 16, 2007.
Okay.
And it stayed online as a real band listing until December 28th, 2019.
Wow, that's 12 years.
Yes.
It slipped under
had
suspicion.
legs there.
I mean, I think the thing is that Wikipedia does better about like little small like niggling things like about, okay, that word is spelled wrong or
grammar, or punctuation.
This like I don't see any mention of this in the chart, so I'm going to put a citation needed here.
Yeah.
But they like larger things. They actually seem to struggle with a little more. And what's funny?
Well, when you weaponize nerds against each other,
Well, yeah.
you get more of that niggling detail in there.
you can go back in time and watch as more and more like citation needed little flags pop up in the article, and finally, like someone was like, wait a minute. Let me actually look at this. So what do we know about the band? We actually know a lot, actually.
Oh, wow, really?
There are about 2,100 words on the page,
Oh, wow.
which is about the same as the real punk band, The Adverts.
What?
And almost twice as many as the real punk band, The Zeros.
This is a travesty.
They were like an
Alan.
important band. The Zeros were like
and the adverts too.
yeah.
Well, so are the Deadweights, obviously.
No.
Clearly. So they were a punk rock band from Manhattan that was active from 1978 to 1987. Then they reformed in 95.
Okay.
The core of the band was White Jimmy on vocals. His real name was James White.
Okay.
Okay.
And Eddie Erland on the guitar. They were originally called the Dead Waves. And then their bass and drum was provided by Hank Leary and Raymond Pettibone. Do you guys know that last name?
Wait, yeah, that's Droopy's cartoon character when he had, isn't it?
No, that is not.
No?
That
Okay.
is, the Pettibone is in there. That's John Pettibone.
Oh, right, okay.
Raymond Pettibone is the guy who designed the Black Flag logo.
Oh, really?
And he did the cover of the Goo album by Sonic Youth.
Okay.
Yes, he's the the younger brother of Greg Ginn from Black Flag. So he did all the artwork for the Black Flag.
Okay, so I wonder if they put him in there to try to give it a little actual reality, or if they put it in as like a haha. If you don't get this reference, you don't know what you're talking about.
I'll have to get Boggy Bob on the
get him
on the line. Later on, Ricky Scaglione and Dean Dopey Haydenbaugh became permanent members.
Okay, that's a little more.
They released 7 albums, 4 on Slash Records, and then the later ones on Reprise.
No. Okay, they're really like asking to be fact checked here.
They were there for 12 years.
Major label stuff. Give me a break. Come on, 7 albums.
1981's First Wave Complete Destruction, which was followed by a self-titled album 2 years later. Then Crisis in 85. Prophecies of Beautiful Regression in 87. Then they reformed. They released Recalled to Life in 97. Animosity in 2002. And From the Age of Doublethink in 2008.
I think I had that one.
I think you did. It hit 29 on the U.S. charts. For
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you're saying this. I think the chart numbers were their downfall.
Yeah, that's easily
easy to
checkable.
check.
Yeah.
Wow, still 12 years.
So how
though.
did they find them?
Well, I don't know, but I think what it was, all of their albums, as well as their 2008 EP, New Old Speak, and the 1998 live album, Look at This Mess.
They actually did ones for the albums.
Yes, every one of the albums.
Okay, wow. All right, so it was not just
This
a
was
one-off.
a lot of work. I mean, kudos to this person.
I think
Yeah,
I
so
think
they're
I
trying to
12 years of happiness
Yeah.
over this.
Yeah,
Letter E.
it's me again.
You get Alan gets all the vowels.
When
man.
do I get to play?
The Ectotherms. This episode is themed to the anniversary of the Ramones' first album, so it's fitting that we have a band that is basically their haircuts.
Yes.
The Ectotherms consist of the characters, the Punk Turtles, who are 3 turtles with Ramone-style haircuts that pop up occasionally in the PBS Kids show Carl the Collector.
Oh yeah, your kid's a big fan.
I love this show.
Actually, you're a big fan.
I'm a big fan. I think I'm more of a fan than Eliza. I'm like, hey, you want to watch Carl the Collector?
She's like, well, I'm going to watch it anyway.
It's good. It's actually really cool. Like multiple characters have autism, and they have inclusivity but it's like this. Their kids like interacting with this. All the kids are voiced by real kids, and so it's a fun show. The band actually gets a music. At first they refer to them as the Punk Turtles.
Okay.
But they finally get a band name when they play the Fuzzy Town Music Maker Championship in the Puffball Collection episode, which was December 2nd, 2024. Advait Mather voices all the turtles, but they don't actually sing in this performance, but here's what they sound like.
There are too many sounds.
And that's that little voice that's in there. That's Lotta, who's a fox who has autism. She also has synesthesia.
Right, see color.
You see colors
No,
associated with
wait.
sounds.
You see sounds and hear colors.
So
and
yeah,
stuff.
it's like a strange like crossover. So like if you hear a sound, it triggers a color in your brain. It's really kind of cool.
Okay.
But you should watch the show.
That's on PBS?
PBS Kids, yeah.
Okay.
And it's also on YouTube. It's all available for free.
All right. Well, I'm going to go next to keep Charles from getting one.
Letter F.
All right. Fear of Failure. Fear of Failure is a hardcore punk band
It's
of
funny
teens.
you're dealing with that one.
Fear of Failure is a hardcore punk band of teens that appears in the 2023 music video for the song Promise Made by real punk band Don't Sleep. So the storyline of the music video follows the members of this band preparing for a gig in their town. We see them flyering, practicing, loading up mom's minivan, arriving and performing at the venue, which is a real venue. It's the Metropolis Collective in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Then at the end of the video, they're actually performing the song. We see them rehearsing the song Promise Made and then performing the song Promise Made. So it's like Promise Made is like a Fear of Failure song in the video.
Okay.
Chorus is We Believe in the Promise Made. And the punchline is that they cut to the audience and there's nobody there. But they're going to keep
In there.
They're going to keep doing the gig. Anyway, Fear of Failure was played by Evan McGrath on guitar, and he's the son of Don't Sleep guitarist Tom McGrath. And then there's also Theo Rothman on bass. He's the son of the bassist Garrett Rothman.
Oh, okay.
So they got
Get the kids
in
involved.
there.
Nice.
And then the band also includes Izzy Howard on guitar, whose father, Josh Howard, plays bass in a punk band, not this one, but a different one called The Virus. And I feel like I can play a clip of Don't Sleep song because in the video, it's actually Fear of Failure song. And it sounds like this.
Letter G.
Hey, Charles, you want to do this one?
No. I do
Okay,
H.
good, because it's mine. Sheena Gothskull.
Ooh.
So one of the best things about punk was how it got reinterpreted by all the suits in the boardroom were trying to make money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always kind of interesting. It was very much like drugs. If you remember our Rex Manning Day show, there was a bit about how a character ate a pot brownie and then had this big LSD like fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
like
Right,
hallucinogen.
right.
Totally hallucinogenic now.
Clearly written by someone who'd never done drugs ever.
yeah.
Kind of this same thing. Like punk was the musical version of that. It was basically anyone in ripped clothes who was rude.
Yeah,
And
right,
They
yeah.
were like, oh, they're so punk. They're shocking. You know? Anyway, all this is to say, I was really disappointed we couldn't bring you a sample of what mint manufacturers in the early 2000s thought punk was, because Sheena Gothskull was from an Altoids web game.
What?
It was a web game that Altoids had on their site called Curiously Strong All Night Long, which seems like a good tagline for a business card if you're in like the orgy business.
Actually sounds like a porn movie title.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm assuming people in orgies, they use a lot of business cards. I mean, I figure it's a kind of little networking before
I believe that's what
I
you
think
should-
so, yeah. Anyway, the game was drawn by Thomas Herpich, and he drew very heavily from like the classic point and click adventure game. Like kind of the things like, okay, you can click to combine these little things,
Right,
and
yeah.
you click to talk to people, and there's like little funny things you can say. And you could think Leisure Suit Larry. I guess he is wearing a leisure suit. I guess it's like think Leisure Suit Larry, only it's an Adobe Flash.
Okay. Okay.
So this is like the game. The character you play in the game is
You're
like
this
a Leisure
dork,
Suit
yeah.
Larry kind of guy.
You're the sleazy guy.
Yeah, you're Big Bad Al. You're the sleazy guy.
Big Bad Al.
I know, yeah. So in the game, Gothskull was a, quote, local celebrity punk rocker.
Despite the fact that her last name is goth and not punk.
Well, and
They're
also-
two separate genres of music, actually. No, I'm fine.
I just like the...
I don't care.
I just like the idea, like the way they refer to it as local celebrity punk rocker. Even though I know it wasn't written by AI, it feels like AI. It has a kind of like what?
I'm the local celebrity punk rocker you've heard so much about.
Your character's trying to get a date with her. The goal was to figure out how to get your uncool character, again, Big Bad Al.
Big Bad Al is uncool?
Sadly so. He's the only one who calls himself Big Bad Al.
That's part of the problem right there, yeah.
He's trying to get into the goth room of Club Nightclub.
Okay, I like the name of the club.
I don't know that they spent a whole lot of time on the backstory. Like I think they might have not had the A-list team writing the backstory.
There's the first draft. They just threw these names. They will come back and we'll fill in the names better.
Yeah. It's very likely that the first draft was that. So he's going to go into lorem ipsum here. And anyway, they definitely didn't spend their money on the music because there is none. Sadly. If you're curious, even though Flash is dead, you can see a working version of the game available at flashmuseum.org. So you can enjoy the site of Sheena Gothskull.
Letter H. Okay, I'm going to play now.
All right.
Yay.
Now for H, we could have done Hardcore Logo, but you remember them from our British Columbia band in the show about Canada. Already done them. And we could also do Hedwig and the Angry Inch, but we have plans for Hedwig in the future.
Right.
So then we picked the Horn Dogs from a 1987 crap fest of a movie, Summer Camp Nightmare. However, the quote-unquote band is just two idiots lip-syncing the Fear song Beef Bologna for a quote-unquote camp talent show. I will never get those 90 seconds back. We will not be discussing them. So I revisited...
There will be no questions.
I revisited the Canada show anyway and grabbed another H band that we barely discussed. The punky all-girl band Hell Hath No Fury from Degrassi, The Next Generation.
Okay, that's an awesome name.
The band has had many names and incarnations, from two girls and a keyboard
In a pizza place.
to Paige, Michael Chuck, and the Sex Kittens, abbreviated to PMS. The band became Hell Hath No Fury because, one, Terry McGregor was in a coma and had to be replaced by Ellie Nash.
This was from a soap opera, you say?
From Degrassi, The Next Generation.
Does someone have amnesia?
And number two, Ashley Curran's boyfriend, Craig Manning, the leader of rival band Downtown Sasquatch.
Oh, that's a great name.
He cheated on her and broke up with her. And he also impregnated a 14-year-old classmate, Manny Santos.
Whoa. Soap opera, you say?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
So their band was Hell Hath No Fury, because of the quote, Hell Hath No Fury like a woman scorned. And they write biting lyrics about Craig, but only Craig, including this banger, Mr. Nice Guy. And the fact that Downtown Sasquatch's Whiny Boy Forgive Me Girls song beats Hell Hath No Fury in the Battle of the Bands is a complete and total travesty, and quite possibly the greatest injustice of any Battle of the Bands, and that includes Primus losing to Wild Stallions in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Mr. Nice Guy rocks. Downtown Sasquatch phoned it in to apologize, and they win? Please.
Not cool, man.
Letter I.
All right, letter I is for Idle Threat, which is a good joke on real punk band named Minor Threat, I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is from a book called The
Oh,
Card...
the Teen Idols also.
Yes, that's true. Which was their original name,
That was
Minor Threat?
That was that was like the Teen Idols was their name beforehand. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, The Cardboard Universe, A Guide to the World of Phoebus K. Dank, is a 2009 novel by author Christopher Miller. Novel is not quite the right term, though. It's an A to Z encyclopedia about a bad science fiction author named Phoebus K. Dank, whose name is an obvious parody of real science fiction author Philip K. Dick.
Right.
And the book is posed as being by an academic expert in all things Dankian and chronicles his life in alphabetical order up through his murder. The character's a lot like Kurt Vonnegut's Kilgore Trout, if you know who that is. It's anyway, here's a, Dank started a punk band. Here's a lightly abridged version of the entry. Pretend I'm a pretentious academic here.
Will do.
All right.
Frickin' snob.
Dank's attempt to start a punk rock band might seem just like one of his vanity projects, but for once, vanity had nothing to do with it. He was inspired not by any delusions of musical talent, but by the sadder delusion that belonging to a punk rock band would earn him the love of the ridiculously named Pandora Landor. As an attempt to conquer another artistic domain, Dank's foray into music was less grandiose than most of his ventures outside the mildly remunerative genre of oddly premised, badly written science fiction, the one art for which he had an undisputed knack. The whole point of punk rock, after all, is that you don't need to be a musician. But you need to be more of one than Dank, I guess, since even after he dropped $600 on a bass guitar and almost as much on a fancy leather jacket with the words punk rock picked out in sequins on the back, nobody would play with him. Finally, he was reduced to paying session musicians to impersonate his bandmates, though not even for better than union wages would they acknowledge him on stage, not even between sets. Neither would they wear the t-shirts he'd had custom made for them, the ones emblazoned with the band's name, Idle Threat, of a larger-than-life image of Dank's head. In addition to plunking his guitar, Dank wrote all the, quote, songs, unquote, set them to, quote, music, unquote, assorted 2 or 3 chord combinations of the 4 he knew, and screamed them at the few who cared to listen. Interestingly, Christopher Miller's debut 2004 novel, Sudden Noises from Inanimate Objects, is also about a fictional musician,
That's right.
the pretentious and untalented avant-garde composer Simon Silber, and that book is subtitled A Novel in Liner Notes, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I remember picking that up and being like, this is an interesting way of doing a novel.
Yeah.
Letter J.
We're going to talk about Johnny Putrid and the Projectiles.
All right. Love that name.
But first, I need to get your thoughts on Mr. Bill.
No, you might need to explain who Mr. Bill is.
Yeah, go for it.
In the old Saturday Night Live, show from, I think, the 70s, the early 70s original cast version, they were like these little shorts, Mr. Bill shorts. I forgot who made them.
Mr. Hand.
Yeah, Mr. Hand.
Mr. Hand made them.
Yeah,
That's right.
Like, he basically was like a little Play-Doh man, and
It came off like a little kids show thing.
Yeah.
Like he was making a little Play-Doh man, and they have little Play-Doh man adventures.
And there was like this hand would come in, and
Mr. Hand,
and his enemy was like Sluggo, and then Mr. Hand was kind of like a frenemy, and his dog Spot would always get killed.
Yeah, basically, Mr. Hand would act like we're just have little fun things, and then Mr. Bill would always get smashed and mushed and
tortured.
Was like, oh no!
Yeah, that was his catchphrase.
I remember it, being like a cultural phenomenon.
Oh yeah,
and that I guess I don't remember seeing it at the time, but thinking, oh, that's supposed to be hilarious.
Yeah, there were like T-shirts.
When I saw it, I thought it was really funny as a kid, but it doesn't really. It's not so much it doesn't hold up. There's not much there to hold up. I was watching. I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't not worth the rewatch. Huh?
It just reminds me, and I think I've mentioned this show before when we watched. Jamie's dad loves the Cheeseburger sketch, and we watched it we were all together.
Cheeseburger.
From the SNL, the John Belushi kind of thing.
Yeah.
We watched it. We were like, is there a joke? Early SNL was odd.
The bar was a lot lower back then, man. There was just not as much groundbreaking stuff on the TV.
Like T-Mac said, Mr. Bill was a fixture in early SNL. I didn't realize this creator, Walter Williams, wasn't actually a staff member. So he filmed a bunch of Super 8 shorts, and he sent them in response to a request for people to turn in their home movies. Basically, they were saying, we'll show them on the show.
So America's funniest home videos started
on
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Williams joined the writing staff actually in 1978. He stayed on for a couple years. And then Mr. Bill showed up on Night Flight, and he actually had a show on the Fox Family Channel called Oh No, Mr. Bill Presents from 1998 to 1999. The thing that blew my mind looking into this, did you know there was a live action version?
Really?
1986, starring Peter Scolari.
This was like a movie or something?
It was a movie, yeah.
I have to watch Peter Scolari as Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill, yeah. It was like a live action.
Smushed or something? I mean, what? What? I had no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm shocked.
That's fantastic.
I got to look this up.
The 80s kept giving and giving. We took it all for granted.
In 95, Williams released Mr. Bill Rocks Out, which actually later on showed up on the Fox Family Show and the 2002 DVD Mr. Bill Does Vegas. I don't know how he released these little short films before YouTube, but he did. There's a bunch of them that just kind of came out, and like I don't know how he got them around. But in this short, he meets his new neighbors who are kind of like punky looking. They actually look the lead singer actually looks a little bit like the lead singer of Green Day. The band, I don't know who played them. They had a lot of fun.
Oh, they were uncredited.
They were they're very uncredited. They're totally uncredited. They had a lot of fun in this short. They were clearly having a lot of fun. Yeah. And they play two songs. And this is here's You Bring Me Down, which is the first of the song they play.
That's music to smush Play-Doh to. Nice.
Letter K.
This is a weird one.
I love the weird ones.
The Kuda. So how much do you guys know about Indonesian punk?
How much time do we have? Have you used your extended plan?
Well, other than Superman is dead, neutral, Superior's or total idiot.
Well,
okay, you called my bluff. I know nothing.
I'm a big fan of Trupis.
Okay.
They're on Spotify. You can look them up.
Okay.
What? Trupis.
Are you guys actually having a real conversation about Indonesian punk right now?
A little bit.
There's actually a fairly large punk scene in Indonesia. It kind of started more recently because, in the heyday of punk, there was they were still like very strong dictatorship, but it was kind of instrumental in the same way that some of the punk scene in Russia was to the USSR actually to the eventual fall of the USSR and to the move away from the strict military dictatorship in Indonesia. But in 1977, the only show in terms of punk was the Kuda, which made things a little difficult because they didn't actually exist.
Okay.
The Kuda was a band created in 2011 by Ruan Grupa, which is a collective of Jakartan artists for an installation at the 7th Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art. So what they did was they created a bunch of artifacts from the band's lifespan, and they teased out, I believe the show was in Brisbane, Australia, and so they teased out how there was a lot of interplay between bands in Brisbane and
Indonesia.
The Kuda.
Okay.
And
that's very interesting. So they're kind of creating some alternate history.
Yeah. So they have I think Ed Cooper from the Saints, and they had a bunch of other real Australian musicians providing personal memories and testimony.
Wow. Okay, so they actually got these people involved for real. Okay.
Yeah, they were actually involved. So
kind of like the Ruddles when they had
stop trying to make the Ruddles happen.
Paul Simon and Mick Jagger talk about them. Yeah.
So they also created flyers and fake merch and T-shirts and a whole backstory. They also wrote and recorded 10 songs for an EP called Mystery Torpedo, and you can actually download it all for free on yesnowave.com. And here's a little snippet.
Gong!
Okay, that's not actually a snippet because that's the entire song.
Hey.
That's Zonderparten. Most of their songs are wire level short, so they're fun. There's an active band called the Kuda, which also seems to may have some connection there. Unfortunately, not being able to read Indonesian and Google Translate kind of falling down on the job, I'm not sure if it's some of the same people who are still performing together. But there's things on Spotify of an unrelated but similar band called the Kuda.
Letter L.
All right, letter L is the late term abortions.
What is with the names that you pick?
All right, well, this is a punk band from the 1999 Spike Lee joint Summer of Sam.
Okay.
Which is about the real serial killer, Son of Sam, who was attacking people in New York City in 1977.
But it's a fictionalized version.
Yes,
so
it's a fictionalized version of the whole thing. Yeah.
here on the Rocklopedia Fake Murderica, we can talk about the fake Summer of Sam, right?
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, one of the main characters is this band's guitarist, Richie, played by Adrian Brody. I actually learned his stepdad, Eddie, in the film, played by Mike Starr, actually plays in a wedding band. So that's another guy.
Oh, okay.
They don't mention, I don't think they mentioned the band's name, but we got Eddie as well. So at the end of the film, Richie is actually suspected of being Son of Sam, but he's found to be in it and he's being attacked. But somebody says, no, stop. They just announced on the news that they caught the real guy. So his life is saved. So they actually are shown playing at real clubs, CBGB's. So somehow they were good enough to get in there. I don't know how low the bar was set there.
I think it depended on what day of the week it was.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe they were on Monday.
I think this was a Monday show band. The band's female lead singer is played by Jennifer Esposito, and she and Adrian both did their own singing on their song "Hello from the Gutter."
Hello. Goodbye.
Sidewalks of New York City. From the ants that dwell here in these cracks.
So Jennifer Esposito singing is not great, but Adrian Brody singing is very, very bad.
Ooh. Letter M.
So this is from the comic book Hellblazer. We have Mucous Membrane.
Okay.
And this is they first appeared November 1988. The comic book Hellblazer is about John Constantine, who is a kind of modern day warlock witch kind of magic person who fights cosmic entities. And he formed a punk band called Mucous Membrane in 1977 after seeing the Sex Pistols at the Roxy in London. And the band also included Gary Gaz Lester, Bino Les, and roadie Chaz Chandler. And they first appear in issue 11, which is titled Newcastle, A Taste of Things to Come. And since this band is from a comic book, obviously we can't include a clip here, right?
Right, of course, obviously.
Well, what would you say if I played you this? Wrong button, Charles. That's a wrong one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me
Try this one. No.
No, hey, dude.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this one.
No.
Oh, all right, let me try this one.
No.
Really? More Cantina Band?
And try this one.
Are all the buttons mad about me?
I only know how to upload. I don't know how to replace. How about this one?
That's the ska punk version.
Damn it, Charles.
Okay, then it has to be this one.
Love adventure, death and glory. So goodbye and the whispered story. One last glass of back a million times. Into the dark across the park. I am no mark for the remaining.
Yeah, a comic book band has a sampleable song for our purposes. Their single was Venus of the Hard Cell, which is a good name.
Yeah.
And it actually, in 1977, the late 70s, it had ahead of its time punk music video in the fictional world. The lyrics were printed in Hellblazer Annual 1 in 1989. And hilariously, in 2006, fans of the comic, including the real band Spiderlegs, put the song together.
Oh, okay. So that's from 2006.
Yeah, that's
even though they
Spiderlegs. Yeah, so they're supposed to be in 1977. They did a good job of capturing it. Although I do say the lead singer of Spiderlegs sounds like the guy from the Psychedelic Furs going back to 1977 to sing a punk song.
Okay.
Sounds like something I'd like.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we have reached the halfway point, so let's take a break. When we return, we'll respray our mohawks and adjust our piercings and tackle the bands N through Z. This is the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. We are back and ready to finish this A to Z list, so let me hit you with letter N. This is Nick Normal and the Nickmatics, who appeared on Sesame Street in 1985. The video...
Sesame Street Punk. Here we go.
This video for their latest hit, the letter N, was played on NTV.
Oh, okay.
The first 24-hour all-letter N channel. The VJ, Nora Nix, thinks it's nice.
I love it.
Oh, okay.
The band's label is N Records.
Okay, man.
The Nickmatics are all background. The drummer, the keyboardist, and guitarist. They have a sound that's more funky than punky.
Yeah.
But Nick Normal, he looks straight up punk. He's got green felt. He's got wild, unkempt orange hair, cool leather jacket.
Oh, yeah.
The lyrics are more reminiscent of Lou Reed as he walks through a Friday afternoon and encounters people who tell him nothing, never, and no.
Then I boogied down to Nino's for my favorite pizza pie. When I got there, it was not the same. Everything was different, even the name. I said, where's the pizza? Where's the root beer? They said, we never make a pizza pie here. No, never. That starts with an N. No, never. There it is again. No, never. Again and again, the letter N.
The no actually is a very poignant moment between father and son because Nick asks to borrow the car. The dad says no because Nick is only 12.
Aww.
And a puppet.
And a puppet. Letter O.
Oot.
What?
Oot.
What about, are you a Canadian punk now?
Oot.
Is your
That's our
car
letter
alarm
O.
going off?
Letter O is a band named Oot.
OOOT.
Okay.
Oot. They're a punk
There
quartet.
it is.
Yeah. Punk Quartet in Jamie Hernandez's Tanta, which is a anthology of comics that first appeared in Love and Rocket's New Stories, numbers 5 and 6. You got Jamie Hernandez, of course, one of the creators of Love and Rocket's the comic series.
Very well regarded alternative comic.
The Oot is mainly a musical backdrop to the stories, so we don't really get a lot of images of them on stage. We do learn a little bit about the band, including the fact that Eric Lopez is the band's lead singer, now that original singer Rigo was deported back to Guatemala.
Oh, man.
And also, according to minor character Moses, Zero Pussy is better than them. So
Okay. All right, well.
that's another band, not a concept, yes.
Okay.
Way to go, Oot.
All right.
Oot. Letter P.
Oot.
All right. P is for punk, of course. Johnny Punk. Johnny Punk is not to be
We have more
confused.
Johnnies in this show. We could have put him in our other Johnny episode.
Johnny Punk is not to be confused with Johnny Funk, who we covered in episode 66 about fictional singers named Johnny from songs.
Oh, see, yeah.
So Johnny Punk is a punk rocker from Marvel Comics, another comic book. He appeared in the November 1980 issue of The Avengers. And I would like the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica Not Ready for Video Podcasting players to perform a dramatic reading of that appearance.
All right.
With Daredevil. Can anyone do like a Daredevil impersonation from the new show?
I have never seen the new show.
Me neither. All right.
talk like this?
right. I'm gonna- all right.
could do it if he talks like that.
No, all right. I'll be Johnny. Charles, you be Daredevil. Alan, you be narrator and other guy and sound guy or something.
Okay, I'm Daredevil. Okay.
All right, Alan, you start us off here.
Interior backstage at a club holding a rock show. A sound technician and a goon are talking to a man in a leather jacket with a green mohawk. That man is Johnny Punk.
In the next set, We'll raise the decibels to mega pitch. The high-frequency sound waves will lock their brains. They'll do whatever I command.
Meanwhile, on the roof of the club,
My hypersensitive hearing picked up Johnny Punk's little plan, and it's not my idea of crowd control.
back inside the club, Daredevil confronts the trio. Hey, look who's horning in!
Back off, or I'll blow the roof off with sound.
My radar senses enough electrical potential to do just that. Gotta think. How about Hostess fruit pies? How about Hostess fruit pies before you turn on the juice?
I sure dig the real fruit filling.
Apple and cherry, that's a dynamite duo! And that light tend to cuss.
What is happening?
Sharp move, Daredevil. You've got us, but we've got the goodies.
Better a Hostess fruit pie than the fruits of crime, Johnny Punk. And thanks to Hostess, I don't have to listen to his music anymore.
You'll get a big delight in every bite of Hostess fruit pie.
What did we just do there? What was that?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't really read comics, did you? This is a mainstay, yeah.
Starting in 1975, Marvel Comics ran these one-page ads for Hostess products that were self-contained comics with zero connection to the main story or characters. A lot of them have villains that were seen nowhere else, but they had like the
Not
superheroes.
zero connection.
No?
Like it came out that was like they were all in their own universe.
Oh, yeah. No, I looked that up. There, Earth 51914 is where all of these things are true and happen.
Yeah. So Earth 616, I believe, is our
Right.
Where's the
Mainstream.
main one that's in Marvel Comics.
Main continuity Earth, yeah.
But yeah, and then the movies are in a different alternate world.
Yeah,
universe, but
they use
yeah.
this whole multiple Earth thing all the time, and then they would like
I kinda
collapse
love it. It's great. It's,
Oh,
they
no.
could actually have this. So yeah.
Wait, there's an Earth where they fight crime with Hostess fruit
Yeah.
pies.
Yes, there's an Earth where Hostess products are so addictive, more than crack, even weed. People will stop whatever they're doing to consume Hostess products. I don't know how society functions like that. Maybe they're only addictive to criminals as a pheromone. I don't know. I have no
this
idea.
this is all real.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This
Yes,
is
I would-
Hostess fruit pie.
If you read comics from 1975 to like 1985, you saw these
Yeah.
ads.
I mean,
they
but
were all over.
Daredevil's a superhero.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
some sort of superpower,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man fought these guys.
There's
all the
something he
things.
should be able to do besides say, "You guys want a fruit pie?"
That's how you fight crime in this universe. You throw Hostess products on the floor and they go nuts for them.
It does explain why in the 90s, all the superheroes, like they changed the uniforms. They all had those like pouches and pockets and everything because they had fruit pies in them. That makes sense finally.
That is ridiculous. All right. Letter Q. Now, SCTV has the wonderful punk band, the Queen Haters.
Yeah.
But we're saving that for our SCTV show that's upcoming.
That's right.
So let's visit with Jimmy Quid. He is the patient du jour on episode 9 of season 4 of the quirky doctor drama House.
Oh, yeah.
You guys watch House?
I've
It's
seen
not
it.
lupus.
You
It's
seen
never
House?
never lupus, Charles.
I'll tell you right now, this one wasn't lupus either.
Oh,
Jimmy Quid is played by everyone's favorite Avenger, Jeremy Renner.
Oh, wow.
He's a punk rocker in an unnamed band. I think he's the vocalist and lead guitarist, but we never see him play. He's boozing, he takes lots of drugs, and he gets in fights. He lives his life by the musical credo, live fast, love hard, die young, and leave a beautiful memory. Or at least hope I die before I get old. One night, the Quiddler, I'm working on nicknames. I'm going for nicknames, trying for nicknames.
Yeah,
So,
Quiddler.
it wasn't in the show, but the Quiddler.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with the band in the alley outside a club where they're about to perform. The rest of the band goes on stage, but Jimmy stops, coughs up blood, passes out. And if this was room 100 of the Hotel Chelsea, he'd die and everyone would be happy. At least he would be happy. But alas, he collapses in the alley behind the club and an ambulance rushes him to the hospital where Dr. House resides. Meanwhile,
does he live at the hospital?
maybe.
Probably.
He always seems to be there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it seems Dr. House has a problem. He has 4 residents, and the boss lady says he can only keep 2. So he decides to turn Jimmy Quid's health into a game to determine who gets to stay.
Okay.
Oh.
So one of the residents basically dismisses the Quid mark as having
Keep working on that.
having deterioration based on alcoholism and drug abuse.
Of course. That's the obvious answer.
Yeah.
That's not the right answer.
Damn it.
There's something else. And if she knew he was a drug abuser, it probably wasn't the best idea to leave him unattended in the bathroom that has an oxygen tank in it because he tries to light a cigarette and
Oh,
kaboom.
no.
He blew up an oxygen tank?
Boom!
And
Why
he would-
laying on the bathroom floor, just kind of like stunned.
I would think he'd be shredded by like all the shrapnel. Okay,
Jesus.
that's weird. Okay.
So the residents notice that he's suffering from blood clots, so it can't just be drugs and alcohol. So maybe it's malaria?
What?
Because it could be dormant, and maybe he left the country at some point in the past. So we should stick him with more needles and run more tests.
Well, he's used to getting stuck with needles, I'm sure.
That's if we could find him. Jimmy Quid is missing.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, wait. He's entertaining the kids in the pediatric ward.
Oh, dear.
Until he passes out and clunks his head on the floor. And the docs take him away and test him some more.
That's just strawberry jam coming out of his head, kids.
It's not malaria, though, but he does have bad blood fragments.
What the hell is that?
That test him again. Oh, wait. It's from sharing needles with the bass player, and his blood is battling the bass player's blood or
What?
something.
Whoa.
But it's not the problem. Back to square one.
Okay.
Oh, and Jimmy is passed out on the floor again with no drugs in his system, so it's not drugs.
Good Lord, get that man some drugs.
So imaging detected peculiar masses by his heart. So one of the residents say maybe some vein or something's wrapped around the
Has he got,
heart.
like, congenital defect or
Maybe
something?
but it doesn't show in the imaging. So the doctors take Jimmy Quid, the punk rock star who would prefer to die young, to the OR and have the friendly surgeon cut Jimmy open and crack his rib cage
no.
so they could take it off and look at Jimmy's heart.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
And Jimmy's heart is fine.
Do you know what invasive means here, people?
Wow.
But his lymph nodes are too big. Oh, and his vitals drop and he almost dies on the operating table.
Oh, yeah.
But they save him.
Okay,
The
that's
guy
fair.
who wants to die, they save him, of course.
Man, the boss lady's going to be so pissed off.
Well, one of the
Heart
band,
surgery can't be cheap, people.
one of the band members tell one of the residents that Jimmy volunteers at an abandoned children's shelter, and House says,
Abandoned? That the shelter's abandoned? Why
Yes.
is he even there?
and House says, "Well, how is that medically relevant?" And then he does that House face. We all realize that, of course, it's medically relevant because Quid has what?
Pink eye. That's what
No.
you get from kids.
He did. He expected. He realized during the surgery. He noticed that on his arm there was no circle, circle, dot, dot. It's cooties.
Oh.
He did not get his cooties inoculation.
So close, measles.
Ah.
He has measles. But to be sure, they have to crack open his skull and perform a brain biopsy.
They're
And,
just torturing this poor bastard at
and
this point.
they're right.
Wow.
And they give him steroids
Measles.
and antibiotics and patch up his skull and rib cage and puncture holes and everything else so that the punk that didn't want to live could live another day.
Oh, no, he was playing with the kids in the pediatric ward.
Oh,
And he has measles.
To check with whether these steroids are working, we have to give you an atomic wedgie, sir. Oh no!
Oh, and House fires the 2 female residents and hires the 2 male residents, which got the boss lady to rush down and say, "You can't fire all the women." So instead of 2 residents, House gets 3. Checkmate, boss lady. Letter R.
All right. Letter R is, we're bending a little bit here because letter R is Roxy Ryan. She's a wannabe punk popper. She's a pop punk.
Okay.
She's a drummer played by Mary Kate Olsen in the 2004 theatrical bomb New York Minute. Remember the Olsen twins, everybody?
Well, of course.
They made a couple dozen straight to DVD things in the mid 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Well, they started out on Full House.
They did,
Give
which-
them credit where credit is due.
fake band, Jesse and the Rippers from there. But yeah, no, they started off as these adorable little kids, and then they were just so cute that they decided to keep making thing after thing after thing after thing. Oh, dear God. Anyway, this movie is one of the few they made that had an actual theatrical release. But
Wow, I did not know that.
it bombed so hard, though, that it drove the Olsen twins production company into dormancy. Woo!
Wow.
It has a whopping 11% on RottenTomatoes.com. And it was the last time Mary Kate and Ashley ever appeared in a film together, and the last movie Ashley would ever act in.
Wow. What a crushing blow this movie
Yeah.
was.
Thank God. They're not good actors. Anyway, Roxy is a drummer. She's trying to get her demo to real band Simple Plan. Simple Plan are in town filming a music video. Simple Plan it's a real Canadian band that epitomizes the true punk ethos of recording songs for Scooby-Doo, appearing in an Olsen Twins movie. Anyway, in the film, Eugene Levy is a truant officer trying to bust Roxy for always skipping school. And of course, hijinks ensue. Levy himself, of course, been in numerous fictional bands. You can check our website, fakebands.com. And finally, by the end of the film, Roxy is in the recording studio recording a cover of David Bowie's Suffragette City.
Hey man, hey man,
works on the train. Hey man, she's a total blah. She said she had to squeeze it, but then she, oh don't lean on me man, cause you can't afford the ticket. I'll back the stuff for yesterday. Oh don't lean on me man, cause you ain't got time to check it. You know my stuff for yesterday is out of sight.
Which that's almost passable. Almost passable.
Almost.
Letter S.
Sid Nishes and his mosh potatoes. I think it's fair to say that Devo is punk's most famous potato-themed band.
Until now.
Well, it's kind of sad if you're a fan of Sid Knishes and his mosh potatoes, who are actual factual potatoes, singing potatoes, or if you're Dan Quayle, singing potatoes.
That's no one's.
Oh wait! I was just handed a note from the Home Office. Dated reference. Joke doesn't work except in text.
Yeah, sorry. No.
Anyway, they appear in the Sandra Bullock hosted episode of the 1996-1998 TV series Muppets Tonight.
But this one goes out to me old pal, Johnny O'Brien. Go fight for
I gotta admit, I like the Johnny O'Gratin.
It killed.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
The puns are awesome in that one.
Yeah.
I got to give them that. Absolutely.
Letter T.
All right. Letter T is Tony Coca-Cola and the Roosters.
Good name.
They're a punk band from the 1979 black comedy low-budget slasher movie, The Driller Killer. It's all about a struggling painter named Reno, played by Abel Ferrara, who also directed the film.
Yeah.
Reno has trouble paying his bills in big bad New York City, so he kills homeless dudes with a power drill. Step 3,
Wait.
profit.
I was going to say, how is that his plan?
Anyway, the band aren't just like a quick window dressing thing. They actually rent an apartment next to Reno to rehearse in, and they're so terrible they help drive Reno further into his insanity with their obnoxious and amateur music like this. Anyone feel the cold grip of madness descending? Anyone? You want to kill the poor? Anyone? No? Oh, well.
It does justify things.
Yeah.
The band
What does
consists...
justify but explain?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So the band consists of Tony Coca-Cola on guitar and vocals. He was played by Douglas Anthony Metrov, who weirdly later went on to co-write the 1988 film Solar Babies.
Weird.
And then guys who never...
with Solar Babies?
Yeah, I don't know. Richie on bass was played by Dickie Bittner. Steve on drums was played by Steve Brown. They don't really have any other credits. But the question remains unanswered by this film is why Reno didn't drill kill the annoying band. They're right there. They were prime candidates. Prime. Is it too obvious?
They
It was
were
too on the
next
nose?
door, too.
Yeah.
Right there.
Too easy.
But
And they at least have rent money.
yeah.
I mean,
right?
I'm questioning his
Drill them and take their money, man.
Drill, baby, drill.
My Life with the Drill Kill Cult.
Letter U.
The Ulthar Cats.
Ulthar?
Ulthar.
Okay.
This is a New York City band that seems to be either obsessed with H.P. Lovecraft and the whole Cthulhu shared universe that came out of his 1920s, 1930s stories, or possibly a band that actually is engaging in cosmic horror stuff that Lovecraft wrote about. It's not fully clear. They date back to a 1994 story that comic book legend Alan Moore wrote for the anthology The Starry Wisdom, a tribute to H.P. Lovecraft. Moore has written a bunch of stuff. He's the guy who did Watchmen, for those of you, and From Hell. I mean, he's V for Vendetta. I mean, he's like very famous comic book writer. He's written a lot of stuff that dips into the whole Cthulhu thing, and I got to say, it definitely has the diminishing returns feel of a lot of the Cthulhu stuff. Yeah. After you're like, let me, what else is on, you know? He was originally going to have it published as part of Alan Moore's Yuggoth Cultures and Other Growth. So Yuggoth is another term from
another Eldritch cosmic horror.
It was a 3-issue series of kind of almost like a mixtape kind of thing. It was like smaller stories that were converted, that were made into graphic novel form. But it ended up being published on its own that year as Alan Moore's The Courtyard. I guess by 2003, Moore was famous enough to move into the Tyler Perry level of creator fame. So it's
he put his name in front of everything. Yeah,
whatever. Yeah. So
well, it was like it was a lesser comic book label. So they really needed to boost up his name to make to get the sales.
That is a good point. Yeah, the band is actually shown a couple times in The Courtyard. And they also appear briefly, or kind of they're hinted at in the 2010-2011 4-issue sequel, Alan Moore's Neonomicon. They're not mentioned in Providence, which is the third iteration of this.
Yeah.
In the first series, the band is referred to as the Ulthar Cats. In the second, it's the is dropped. I don't know if it matters, but like pretty much everything in this series, the band's name references an H.P. Lovecraft story. In this case, the Cats of Ulthar.
Right.
In Neonomicon, weirdly, a character actually calls out that all the Lovecraft references that are happening in these books are, quote, some literary in-joke. It's like a weird little bit of lampshade hanging that doesn't quite work. I'm like, you're not doing on this meta level until now, and then you turn the page and you're not doing it anymore. So anyway, the Ulthar Cats play Club Zothique every few weeks.
But Zothique is another Cthulhu
term,
reference. Yeah.
And according to the racist, sexist, and generally unpleasant protagonist of The Courtyard, who's undercover FBI agent Aldo Sachs, the band is noisy, obscure New York art fags. They suck. We hear or see them.
Don't hear them.
We play. They see them play.
There's no music version of this.
They play one song, Zon Variations.
Nope, Zon is another character.
Dustin Moral lyric says, "In cobble yards, through the smashed eyes of a derelict warehouse, old violins play where a smoke river factory black crawls below the stone bridges. Old violins play, and the crippled dogs whine in their sleep all along Rue d'Ossé." And then it goes to Crash Briglicht, Iolins, Krobble, Yog, Sothoth, Nga, Yingalaf, Dagen, in Cractory, Wineyards, Balok, Sleepled, Riley, Nga, Tekelili.
And then the Jimmy Page solo at that point. And then they do the Stairway to Heaven.
So that is Aklo, which is this language from the Cthulhu mythos that plays a big deal in these books. And it's like this fake language that he invented.
Ancient, supposedly.
It's like pre-human language. And anyway, their lead singer is Randolph Carter, whose real name is Marianne Stubbs.
Yeah, but Randolph Carter is another character from a different story.
Not just that, and we'll get to that in a second. Randolph Carter is famous or infant enough to have appeared in People magazine, which I thought was honestly seems less likely.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like they're a huge band in universe.
Less likely than the fact that they have things called fax booths and that there's a dome over Harlem.
They throw in a little weird world building.
It's very odd. She in the second one in Neonomicon, she attacks the protagonist and she gets questioned by the FBI, which is when she gives her statement. The Statement of Randolph Carter, which is a 1919 short story, and the statement is in Aklo. Someone actually says again, they're like, "Oh, it's the Statement of Randolph Carter." I couldn't tell whether more, are you hitting me over the head with this, or are you trying to be meta, or what is happening here?
A little column A, a little column B. I think.
I will say, if you're interested in this, if you like Lovecraft, he's got the first one is worth reading. The second one has a prolonged, sexual
rape thing,
sexual assault,
creepy,
fantasy involving a fish man.
It's a little out there.
This is not out there. It's offensive and doesn't really do anything. I was like, ugh, this is just kind of gross. I'm like, from one Alan to another. You got things to work through. It's okay to work through things. Maybe
if he would only show up at the Alan therapy circles,
just put this in the desk drawer.
The boy thinks he's Big Bad Al is what I think.
Apparently so. Anyway, so that is Ulthar Cats.
Letter V. So V is for the Vicious Vegans, the undead punk power trio in the 2011 low budget Gorefest pop punk zombies.
Oh, wow. Well, it's all right there in the title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Music impresario Damian David had an idea. What if he put together a band made up of zombies? He wouldn't have to pay them, provide health insurance for them, put them up in a hotel, Just let them tour and perform, and he rakes in the cash. So Damien and some goons rob the graves of Billy, Penelope, and Brian, 3 young musical geniuses that died way too soon.
And all conveniently close together, apparently.
Exactly. With all last names forgotten, I guess. And they were zombies coming out of the grave, just FYI.
What, already?
They just popped out as zombies. He knew they were going to be zombies, I guess.
Oh, they're like pre-made zombies.
I guess, yes.
He didn't have to like perform a zombification ritual.
They were just waiting. All of a sudden, this big arm pops up.
I've heard that these ultra-processed zombies are a real problem for American nutrition right now.
Yeah, you want those wild and free zombies,
Well, that's what he got.
Catch them
He got
yourself.
ones that just
I'm
popped
a
out.
locavore zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
So he spends a year training them to play as a band.
A whole year, wow.
Yeah, well, they're zombies. It takes some time.
Okay, fair.
Renamed them BJ and Pinko and Brain instead of Brian.
Nice.
Brain. And now it's time to tour. First stop on their world tour, some punk club called The Warehouse somewhere in Wisconsin.
You got to start somewhere, Charles.
Well, Eddie and Seasmore, his friend Seasmore, who he calls Seas, are hanging out. They get tickets for the show, and Seas wants to go, but Eddie is afraid he might run into his ex, Lisa. He decide to go. They pass some protesters who have a very valid point. If we allow this, we will all lose our jobs to zombies. That's where they're going to come. They're going to come pulling up the dead people.
This is a metaphor for AI, right?
It's all coming. It's all coming, dead people. So anyway, Eddie and Z's and like a dozen people are at this concert. The band is restrained on stage for the audience's safety.
Oh, okay, good. All
They're
right.
tied down, and they begin to play this song.
This wasn't my design. The night I left this life, to walk in constant agony, fearing in the light. But I will feel no pain. No, I will feel no pain. One day I'll sleep again, and I will feel no pain.
Which I expected to be a little harder being a zombie punk band, but okay. So a protester cuts the restraints to free the band, and they start eating the audience. The city boards up the doors to prevent anyone leaving and orders an airstrike. The city orders an airstrike? Okay. But the city orders an airstrike to fill the building with a gas that melts zombies and maybe just kills humans.
Why would you need an airstrike to put gas in there? Can't you just like stick a tube in a vent?
And there's always a helicopter coming. The helicopter is always 10 minutes out.
Yeah.
They come back 15 minutes later. We're 10 minutes away from the target. 20 minutes later, we're 10 minutes away from the target.
Again.
So will Eddie and C's escape? Will they rescue Lisa? Doesn't really matter, really. It's a chance for cheap gore. That's what this movie is.
Okay.
They made the list. They should be happy for that.
Right, you're on the list. You got on the show.
They made it.
Congratulations.
Letter W.
All right. Well, this one's a little weird.
Weird?
A little bit. So the novel The Homing Pigeons is the final volume of Robert Anton Wilson's Schrodinger's Cat Trilogy, which is a science fiction series published in 1979. In the novel, there is a huge list of about 100 fictional punk bands, which is a trick Wilson also used in his Illuminatus trilogy, which had a list of about 200 bands. Now, because we had a dearth of bands that started with W that we could go in depth on, instead, I'm going to list all of Robert Anton Wilson's punk bands that start with the letter W.
We don't really have a dearth of W bands because there's quite a few in them from this list, but also
the depth to them.
Well, the other W's were all taco core bands, which we talked about in our Muslim show.
Muslim punk show, yeah. So I'll start with a relevant quote and then I'll skip to the band. So the list begins with this. The lights began to go out all over San Francisco, first in ones and twos, then in dozens and scores, and then in hundreds, until a Stygian blackness descended in which punk rock groups and transvestites could be seen dimly as they marched in robot hordes toward the bay. UFOs over the power stations! Someone shouted, a major blackout! And behind the gate of Chinatown, the drums of Fu Manchu began. The punk rock groups led the parade downhill through Chinatown to the ocean. This is then followed by the list of bands, which includes these 8 bands that start with the letter W. The Wascal Wabbits, Bugs Bunny reference, the Weird Made Flesh,
the Word Made Flesh,
yeah. The Welfare Bums, the Whoopee Casket Company, the Window Jumpers, the Wiretappers, the Wretched Refuse, and the Wrist Slashers. All pretty good, solid punk band names, I think.
And they all sound the same. Not at all.
No, they got no details on any of
details.
these bands whatsoever. Just a big, fat list.
Letter X. X is for the X-Women. From the 2007 movie Punksburg.
Good title.
About 4 lifelong friends from Pittsburgh who started a punk band called the Strangles.
Not to be confused with real Australian punk band, the Stranglers.
Right, this is just the Strangles.
Are they Australian?
Oh, well, I don't know.
I think they're British.
Maybe. I forgot.
At their first show at the Quarry, the main punk club in Pittsburgh, the Strangles, not to be confused with whatever bands you're talking about, opened for X-Women, a 5-member all-woman punk band who dress like X-Men characters, but with giant strap-on penises dangling between their legs.
Wow.
So they're not women, they're X-Women.
First, I want to say, Alan, you're right. They're English, not Australian. And second, Charles, what?
The band members are not named, but the drummer sits in a wheelchair with a shaved head dressed as Professor X and
that's funny.
bangs her fake phallus against her drums.
Oh, Jesus.
The lead singer is dressed like Wolverine. The guitarist is dressed like Jean Grey. Sadly, the bass player is dressed like Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's
Oh, that's
not an
slow.
X-Men.
No.
That's really slow.
I mean, briefly in the Fantastic Four, but not none of the
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's you know, well,
Yeah, I guess
it's
the-
Punksburg. It's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a song they play in the movie Mutant and Proud.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full command is what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie to hurt you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Letter Y.
No.
Second.
You got us again. I thought we were done with the hoaxes.
Letter
That's
Y.
2 hoaxes. Sorry,
Letter
folks.
Y.
All right. The letter Y is the Young Snots. The Young Snots is a punk band from yet another comic book, the 1988 DC comic book miniseries or maxi series Sonic Disruptors.
Comics books be loving punks.
There you go.
They do. It was written by Mike Barron, drawn by Barry Crane and John Nyberg. The series is interesting to me because I was actually buying it as it was coming out. And then it was canceled partway through.
Oh, man.
Canceled on issue number 7 with a plan out of a plan 12. And we'll never know the ending because neither did the creators know the ending, which is part of the problem. They were just making it up as they went along. They had like some of it, scripted out. And then after a certain point, they were like, well, when we get there. And then they got there and they had to cancel it.
I have a picture in my head of 1988 of this young teen like whistling and walking down the street to his local comic book store.
Where's my-
waiting for issue 8?
Where's my issue 8?
Sorry, there's no issue 8.
Damn it.
I'll come back next week.
Anyway, the story is totally unconnected with any other part of the larger DC Comics universe. In it, the U.S. is a military dictatorship. Rock music is banned. Rock bands are the rebel terrorist groups being pursued by the jackboots. The hero is a pirate radio DJ broadcasting from a space station, and the government spy is a record producer who produced this band, the Young Snots, who are described as is kick-ass man. I think the series actually deserves a deeper dive at some point because it's very band centric. There's like 30 different bands mentioned in the comic book. It's a very wild ride. It's kind of fun. I wish they had finished it. I was dying to see where the hell they were going to take it.
If only they had Hostess fruit pies, they could have stopped with those jackboot thugs.
That's right.
true.
They could.
Letter Z. All right, we've made it to the end of the alphabet.
Woo.
Hello, Z. All right, so let's go on a bang with zine heads. And since I haven't used my extended play yet, let's do it here.
All right.
All right. Zine Heads is a punk-looking rock... Punk-looking? Well, hold on. Okay. Zine Heads
They're a punk band. This
is a punk-looking rock band seen only on a poster in the background of fictional rock club The Bourbon Room in the 2012 hair metal musical Rock of Ages. set in 1987.
Yeah.
That's all we have for this.
Yeah, that's
Z?
It's in the background. There's a lot of flyers in the background of that movie. We had to freeze frame a lot.
That's all we have.
I was
the guy's got a mohawk on the poster. He's definitely a mohawk.
On a different letter. Maybe.
I used my extended play on this, guys. Why didn't you say something?
That's all there is.
I thought you might have found something.
I was hoping.
No, I just assumed.
I thought this was like a placeholder entry till we were going to research up a new Z. I don't know.
Now we got to wait it out the extended play a little bit.
Can we get some more snacks?
I guess you can get some snacks. You didn't get the donut holes last time because it was bothering you last time.
20 minutes later.
It extended play no longer. We have to talk about this a little more because he's saying I'm cheaping out on snacks.
Do you want to maybe just play the Cantina Band a few more times?
I guess. It's okay. Not the ending we were hoping for, but it's probably fitting for the Punk Rock A to Z show. Now it's time for us to smash our podcast equipment and mosh around like we just don't care. I'm Charles. There's Alan.
Glad to see you go.
There's T-Mike.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
And this has been the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, a production of the Van Gogh Sketch Comedy Group. The hosts are Alan Benson, T-Mike Childs, and Charles Rempel. Our editors are Alan Benson and Charles Rempel. Please be sure to subscribe to the Rocklopedia on your service of choice so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a review or email us at fakebands@vgg.com. And don't forget to visit fakebands.com and the mothership, vgg.com. Thanks for listening.